Friedrich Nietzsche wrote something that most people read but never understand. That which does not kill me makes me stronger. These words are repeated by motivational speakers and posted on gym walls and printed on coffee mugs. But the real meaning is nothing like the warm feeling people attach to it. Nietzsche was not talking about surviving a bad day, work, or getting through a tough workout. He was talking about turning suffering into a weapon, about using pain to destroy the parts of yourself that are weak, about becoming something most people are too afraid to become, a predator. The common reading of Nietzsche is comforting. It says that hard times build character, that every struggle has a silver lining, that the universe is ultimately fair and your pain has apropos. Nietzsche believed none of these things. He believed the universe was cold, indifferent, and chaotic. He believed that suffering was meaningless, and he believed that the people who became powerful were not the ones who avoided pain. They were the ones who sought it out, who craved it, who used it the way a blacksmith uses fire, to shape themselves into harder and sharper and more dangerous versions of what they were before. Consider to people who lose their jobs on the same day. The first person goes home, opens a bottle of wine, calls their mother, spends the next 3 months applying for jobs that are exactly the same as the one they lost. The second person does something different. They sit in silence for an hour, then they write down every mistake they made at that job, every moment of weakness, every time they stayed quiet when they should have spoken, every time they chose comfort over growth. Then they burn the paper, and they spend the next 3 months becoming someone who could never be fired again. The same event to completely different outcomes. The difference is not luck. The difference is whether pain is used or wasted. Nietzsche called this process Amor Fati, the love of fate, not acceptance, not resignation, love. The person who achieves Amor Fati does not just tolerate their suffering. They embrace it, they thank it. They recognize that every humiliation, every failure, every moment of physical or emotional pain is raw material, and they are the sculptor. The weak person asks, why is this happening to me? The strong person asks, what can I build from this? The weak person seeks comfort. The strong person seeks friction, because friction creates heat, and heat is the enlivening that can transform iron into steel. The human body understands this better than the human mind. When a muscle is stressed, it hears microscopic tears in the tissue. The body responds by rebuilding that muscle slightly larger and slightly denser than before. The adaptation only happens because of the damage. No pain, no gain is not a glitch. It is biology. But the same process applies to the mind, to the character, to the will. A person who has never been humiliated has no resilience. A person who has never failed has no wisdom. A person who has never been betrayed has no understanding of loyalty. The scars are not just evidence of pain. The scars are the upgrade. Nietzsche despised the idea of avoiding suffering. He saw the modern obsession with comfort as a kind of spiritual suicide. A person who avoids all pain becomes soft, becomes weak, becomes prey. He looked at the Christianity of his time and saw a religion designed to make people comfortable with weakness. Turn the other cheek. Bless the meek. The poor in spirit shall inherit the earth. Nietzsche called this slave morality, a system created by weak people to protect themselves from strong people, to make strength seem evil and weakness seem virtuous. He rejected it completely, not because he was cruel, because he was honest. The secret Nietzsche discovered is that pain is information. Physical pain tells you where that image is. Emotional pain tells you where your attachments are. Social pain tells you where your dependencies are. A person who listens to their pain can learn more in 5 minutes than a person who avoids their pain can learn in 5 years. The question is not whether you will feel pain. You will. The question is whether you will let that pain teach you or destroy you. Most people choose destruction. They numb themselves with alcohol or television or social media or food or sex or work. They run from the pain, and in running, they learn nothing, and the pain returns. again and again until they die. The person who turns pain into power does something else. They sit in the pain. They feel it fully. They ask it questions. Where did you come from? What are you trying to tell me? What part of me is weak enough to be hurt like this? The answers are never comfortable. The answer might be you are afraid because you are not good enough. The answer might be you are hurt because you trusted someone who did not earn it, and you did it anyway. These answers are knives, but a knife can cut you open or cut away the dead flesh. The choice is yours. Consider the experience of public failure. A person gives a presentation. It goes badly. People are. Their boss is disappointed. They want to disappear. The weak response is to avoid public speaking forever, to stay in roles where no one looks at them, to accept a smaller life. The strong response is different. They watch the recording of the presentation once, twice, 10 times. They note every moment where they lost the room, every stumble, every weak gesture. They study the laughter. What exactly were people laughing at? They break it down like a scientist examining a disaster. And then they practice. Not for an hour, for 100 hours. They become the best public speaker in their company. Not despite the failure. Because of it, Nietzsche understood something that modern psychology is only beginning to confirm. Post-traumatic growth is real, and it is more powerful than post-traumatic stress. The difference is not the event. The difference is the interpretation of the event. Two soldiers survive the same battle. One comes home with nightmares and addiction. The other comes home with unshakable confidence and a sense of purpose. The same fire that melts butter hardened steel. The variable is not the fire. The variable is the material. The process of turning pain into power has specific steps. Step 1 is to stop asking for fairness. The universe is not fair. It never has been. It never will be. The person who demands fairness will spend their entire life angry and disappointed. The person who accepts unfairness can start working. Step 2 is to stop explaining your pain to people who do not care. No one is coming to save you. The therapist can help you understand. The friend can offer sympathy, but no one can do the work for you. Step 3 is to ask the hard question. What part of this pain is my fault? Not all of it, probably most of it, but at least some of it. In that part, you can change. The greatest lie about pain is that it is something to heal from. Nietzsche would disagree. He will say that pain is something to build from. A broken bone heals, but a bone that has healed is not stronger than before. It is just as strong, sometimes weaker. A bone that has been stressed and torn and rebuilt under pressure is stronger. The difference is not healing. The difference is training. The person who uses their pain as training does not want to go back to how they were before. They want to become someone completely new. Someone who cannot be hurt in the same way again because the weak spot has been burned away. Watch how the powerful respond to criticism. The weak person gets defensive, explains, justifies, cries unfairness. The strong person listens, not because they enjoy criticism, because a criticism is information. Every criticism is a map to a weakness. Even the criticism that is wrong tells you something about how you are perceived. The strong person collects criticism the way a blacksmith collects scrap metal. Most of it is useless, but some of it can be reforged into something sharp, something useful, something that can cut. Nietzsche's own life was a demonstration of the principle. He suffered from crushing migraines, near blindness, constant vomiting. He was rejected by the academic establishment. His book sold almost no copies. He watched the woman he loved choose another man. He spent his late years in a catatonic state after a mental collapse. By any reasonable measure, his life was a disaster. But in the years when his body was failing and his mind was sharpest, he wrote the most dangerous and brilliant philosophy ever produced. He did not turn his pain into power because he was special. He turned his pain into power because he had no other choice. And that is the secret. Most people have a choice. They choose comfort. He did not. And that is why I'm still read him. The person who masters this process does not become happy. Nietzsche was not happy. Happiness was not the goal. The goal was power. The goal was becoming someone who could not be broken. Someone who could look at the worst life had to offer and say, "Is that all you have?" Someone who could take the hardest blow and stand back up, not despite the pain but because of it. The pain became fuel. The suffering became strength. The wounds became wisdom. This is not a comforting message. It is not meant to be. It is a message for the few people who are ready to stop running from their pain and start using it. For everyone else, there are coffee mugs with inspirational quotes,